But yeah, see, there's a very physical process. You're very directly and intimately involved with the reconfiguration of the unknown. But in a way, you kind of make it known. Same thing with these speak and math things. I also had one of these rare speak and music. I couldn't ever get that thing to work properly. So one thing is with these very old circuits, things were made out of very simple components and put together in a very complex structure. You can see in the back all these little solder points where the chips go. Each one of those points is a way to access a different part of a data signal flying around inside this circuit, and you can reroute it and cause the chips to process data that it wasn't initially intended to process, or it's to kind of get inside the circuitry and take it over, almost in a parasitic fashion. My work with that, I took that and applied to the California Institute of the Arts for a master's degree in music composition. And I got a little freaked out and thought that that meant I had to write music on lined paper. But I was a little bit relieved when I figured out that I could do things at my own pace, in my own way. And while everybody was making music in their computers with notation and outputting it through like PostScript or whatever it is, Sibelius, onto music notation, I decided to go and use the ancestor of the computer, the typewriter, to actually use the notation or create graphic notation from the keystrokes. So for compositions like these, I have one line for a reference pitch that's determined by the performer, and then the distance is interpreted as changes in pitch, all open to interpretation. And I decided that since I was working with the predecessor of the computer, that I should start getting into computational processes and iterative sort of things. And my performance practice made me want to share this compositional process of creating these structures in a live setting. So what I did was I created a line on the page, dynamics, and a text to be spoken while these notes are being played, and then instructions for these cards to be passed around. And what I would do is I'd have a stack of cards on one side, a typewriter in front of me, and I had a bass player, cello, viola, and violin all next to me. And they were kind of like, we had like a computer system, right? We had the old punch cards that I got to program on the typewriter, and that was part of the acoustic sound. And then pass that card to the bass player, who would then process that, interpret it into music, pass the card along, and so you have these layers that would kind of overlap. Sorry, I don't have any audio recordings. The output is bad, so. The website has a lot of information, so you can take that down at the end and explore on your own. So the work with computers also was inspired by my work with the ancestors of our modern, like these laptops here, were these home computers that, for the first time, these things that used to take up entire rooms could be condensed into like these little boxes that you can then plug into your TVs. And I had one when I was in elementary school. My parents bought one of these at a garage sale for like $25. And when they first came out, they were being sold for like $200 to $400. So very quickly, technology becomes cheap. Meanwhile, everybody else was playing around on Nintendos. That's kind of in a different category. But for those, the circuit bending took the direction into the video. So rather than circuit bend an object for the sounds that it can produce, to take control of the video and rewire that and then work with the visual aesthetics of the 8-bit glitch. And of course, the reason I was doing that was because I had this idea to merge the two. I would see video VJs and their performances with musicians, and a lot of the times I saw a disconnect, and a disconnect is not always bad. A disconnect can be very desirable, but there was something about the quality of the sounds in these noise shows that I was going to in Denver that I didn't quite see translated into the video, and I kind of wanted to, for myself, kind of play with this idea of making the two more intimately connected, so that what you're actually playing sound-wise is being directly inject it into a system that interprets it as video. And I got a little carried away, as most circuit vendors do, and made a whole bunch of these things and would make performance